We're always told that electric cars are our clean, green ticket to the future of transportation. But what if that's not the whole story? Today, we're going to peel back the curtain and look at the entire hidden life cycle of an EV, from the moment its materials are mined all the way to the landfill. So that brings us to the big question, the one we're really digging into. Are electric vehicles the environmental silver bullet we've been promised? Or is there something more complicated, maybe even a little dirtier, hiding just under the hood? Okay, so let's start with the promise, right? The part we all know and love. EVs have zero tailpipe emissions. That means cleaner air in our cities, they're quiet, they're fast, and they've become the poster child for a green future. And you know what? While you're driving one, that's all absolutely true. But here's the thing. That's just one part of its life. To really get the full picture, we have to hit rewind. We've got to go way back, before the car is even a car, because we have to talk about the most critical and, frankly, the most controversial part, the battery. And this is where we get to the real price of that battery. And I'm not talking about what you pay at the dealership. I'm talking about carbon. You see, from the second it's made, every single EV starts its life carrying what's called a carbon debt. So what exactly is this carbon debt? Well, it's the massive amount of CO2 that gets pumped into the atmosphere just to build the car, especially its huge lithium-ion battery. The whole process is so energy-hungry that making an EV actually creates way more emissions up front than making a regular old gasoline car. And to put a number on it, just look at this. Research shows that making just one standard 60 kilowatt-hour battery can create over 5 tons of CO2. That is a huge carbon footprint before the car is even driven 1 single kilometer. It's starting from way behind. So you can think of it like this. Every EV starts its life deep in a carbon hole, and it has to be driven for thousands and thousands of kilometers just to start climbing out and begin having a real climate advantage over a brand new gas car. So how long does that actually take? Well, studies show the break-even point is somewhere between 100,000 and 200,000 kilometers. Yeah, for the average person, that could be a whole decade of driving just to break even. But it's not just about the energy used in the factory. You have to ask, where do all the raw materials for that battery come from? The lithium, the cobalt, the nickel, they all come with a steep environmental price tag long before they ever see an assembly line. Take a look at this number. In Chile's Atacama Desert, one of the driest places on Earth, it takes 500,000 liters of precious water, evaporated away, to produce just 1 ton of lithium. That's 500,000 liters of water just gone, and the impact on local communities and their water supply is, well, it's devastating. And this quote from Global Witness really hits the nail on the head. The rush for these clean car minerals risks creating a whole new environmental crisis. We're damaging fragile ecosystems and threatening the way of life for indigenous communities. Think about that. We're essentially outsourcing our environmental problems so we can feel good about driving clean cars at home. Okay, let's shift gears a little. Let's move from how these cars are made to the open road, because there's another problem we almost never discuss, just how heavy these things are. Batteries are just incredibly heavy. I mean, look at this. The electric version of the Ford F-150 pickup weighs about 700 kilograms more than the gasoline one. To put that in perspective, that's like driving around with a grand piano in the back all the time. So why is this extra weight such a big deal? Well, it turns out it has some really serious consequences for 2 things: safety on the road and a type of pollution you probably haven't thought much about. First off, it's just basic physics, right? More weight means more force in a crash, making these heavier vehicles harder to stop and way more destructive when they do hit something. And second, get this, even without a tailpipe, these heavy cars are creating a surprising amount of pollution. Let's talk about that safety risk. Research has shown that for every 500 kilogram difference in weight between 2 cars in a crash, the risk of a fatality for the people in the lighter car goes up by 12%. As more and more of these heavy EVs are on the road, the risk for everyone else in smaller, lighter cars just keeps going up. And what about that other pollution? You see, all that extra weight grinds down tires and brakes way faster, releasing these tiny, nasty particles into the air. This stuff is already a huge part of city air pollution, and the weight of EVs is just making it worse. Next up, there's the massive, invisible problem of just plugging them all in. If we all switch to EVs, it's going to put a kind of strain on our electrical grids that they were just never built for. So here's the problem.
Think about what happens when millions of people get home from work and all plug in their cars at the exact same time. The grid could just buckle. The good news is, people are working on solutions like smart charging, where your car waits to charge until electricity is cheaper and demand is low. And way down the line, there's even vehicle-to-grid technology, which could turn all our cars into a giant shared battery, selling power back to the grid when it's needed most.
And finally, we get to the end of the road. After about 10 or 15 years, an EV battery just doesn't hold a charge like it used to, and it has to be replaced. So what happens to the old one? This might be the biggest can we're kicking down the road. I mean, look at this number. It's staggering. Right now, it's estimated that almost all lithium-ion batteries, 98.3%, are not recycled. They just end up in landfills. They become hazardous waste, and they carry a huge risk of starting fires that are incredibly hard to put out. Okay, so recycling is possible, but the methods we have, well, they have their own problems. The old way, pyrometallurgy, is basically just melting it all down, which uses a ton of energy and isn't very efficient. A newer way, hydrometallurgy, uses chemicals, which is better, but then you're left with chemical waste. The real holy grail is direct recycling, which could save the most valuable parts of the battery. But it's new, it's complicated, and it's nowhere near ready for prime time. Okay, so let's just step back and look at the whole picture we've painted. Electric vehicles start life with a huge carbon debt. The materials in their batteries come at a heavy environmental and social cost. Their extra weight creates new safety risks and a new kind of pollution. They're going to put a massive strain on our power grids, and maybe most importantly, we still don't have a real scalable solution for recycling their batteries. So here's the bottom line. The electric car isn't just a cleaner version of the gasoline car. It's a whole new system with its own unique and complex set of challenges. To really make it work, we have to fundamentally rethink our energy grids, our supply chains, our safety standards, and our entire approach to waste. The EV revolution is here, there's no doubt about it. But the real question we have to ask ourselves is, are we actually ready for everything that comes with it?